Let's go to the Panthers at 6. And Brady, I want to direct this to you because Ryan has them taking Kenny Pickett. You really like Kenny Pickett to the Steelers, but that's not what's going on in this latest mock draft. Apparently, our NFL insider, Jason Lockenfora, had some intel that the Panthers really like Kenny Pickett. What would you think about him at number 6?
Well, it makes sense because I think he's the best quarterback in this class. There's no one who did more for themselves this past season than Kenny Pickett did, coming in and having one of the most prolific seasons we've really seen at the University of Pitt or in the ACC for that matter. So Kenny Pickett has the best tape. He showcased the ability to have downfield, deep ball accuracy, timing, anticipation. On top of that, he's tough, and you'll see him take off and run the football. In fact, because of one of his scrambles and then really faking a slide, they had to create a new rule for him. So he's even kind of broken the barrier on quarterbacks rushing and faking a slide now, and they've outlawed that. So look, he's got everything. The question really becomes, again, is he a product of a system with a great wide receiver in Jordan Allison, who was phenomenal for Pitt this past year, and the fact that he's older at the college football level, being the fact that he was at Pitt forever, or is this guy going to be able to go right in immediately day one and start and be able to turn around this franchise? That's the question if you're Matt Rule and if you're the Carolina Panthers, because that's what they need right now. Matt Rule's in the hot seat, and he can't afford to take a quarterback and have a swing and miss. Otherwise, he'll be out of there. But I think of this quarterback draft class, he's the best. So it wouldn't shock me at all if he's not the first one taken off the board, and if the Carolina Panthers aren't the team that takes him.
All right, let's welcome back in Brady Quinn, Danny Kanell, and Ryan Wilson. Let's pick up with the Commanders. That is going to take some getting used to. Ryan has them going with a quarterback at 11. Ole Miss's Matt Corral. Matt Corral is his QB1, Danny, but Pickett jumped him. So what do you think about Corral in this position?
So I'm with Brady. I like Kenny Pickett the best out of the quarterbacks coming out of this class, but Matt Corral has shown some potential. There's a couple problems with it, though. He's a little bit on the small side. He's 6'1", maybe 205 pounds, but he also his style of play in this system. Like, he ran the football a lot, which really did showcase his athleticism. He ran it 30 times in one game alone versus Tennessee for 205 yards, but you're not going to work him that way in the NFL. He's an athletic quarterback who can run around. He can make all the plays. He improvises great. But I do wonder if his success is a product of the system. They played him with Lane Kiffin and Jeff Lebby, who are, it's a high-flying offense where you put up big numbers. You should complete 68% of your passes. You should have a touchdown interception ratio of 20-5. I worry a little bit about his translation to the next level because of the trend we've seen lately of smaller, undersized quarterbacks struggling to play well. And a lot of this is about timing. The fact that Kyler Murray, without DeAndre Hopkins, was no longer an MVP quarterback. Baker Mayfield, who had questions about his size. Now they're wondering about him in Cleveland. And even to some extent, a guy like Lamar Jackson, who does have an MVP under his belt, but I wonder if his future, what is his long-term prospect as the quarterback for the Ravens? I think those don't help Matt Corral. So I'll be really curious to see where he goes. But if this is where Washington goes in the direction of a quarterback and Kenny Pickett's off the board, I would probably go this direction too.
Welcome back. We got the final 5 picks of the first round of Ryan Wilson's latest mock draft there, and a lot of decisions to be made with these teams. The Packers not sure if they're going to have Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams for that matter. What did the Chiefs do to try to make it back to the Super Bowl? And can the Bengals pretty please find somebody to protect Joe Burrow? Let's welcome back Brady Quinn, Danny Kanell, and Ryan Wilson to go through the final few picks here. We'll start with the Packers at 28. Danny, we'll toss this one over to you. As I mentioned, don't know what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers or Devontae Adams. Ryan has them taking USC wide receiver Drake London.
So this is the biggest specimen of the class. At 6'5", over 200 pounds. He can run. He's just a big body that has an incredible catch radius. And I think it's one of the reasons, like this wide receiver class, you can make a strong case for a lot of them to potentially be the first wide receiver drafted. And I think Drake London fits that category. Insane athlete, can get out there. Most of his work was done in the slot at USC. That's probably one of the red flags about him. Hasn't done too much work outside as a true wide receiver. But I look at him as a taller version of a Keenan Allen, somebody who's just a great playmaker on the ball, great ball skills, great deep ball. If you're looking for chunk yardage, you put it anywhere in his vicinity, he's going to come down with it. So I think this is one of the prospects I would love. As a guy who likes long, tall wide receivers, because I wasn't accurate, I just put it anywhere in their area and they could catch it. Drake London fits that bill.
Let's go to the Dolphins. Ryan's trying to quickly text me here. I think I got it just in time. Daniel, what is it, Ryan? Falele? There we go. We got it. Brady, look, we haven't talked about him much in the first round here. He is one of the biggest players in this draft. 6'8", 387 at the Senior Bowl. How do you feel about this pick?
He's not only just one of the biggest players in the draft, I think he's one of the biggest players in our entire country. I mean, he's a massive, massive human being. And there's a couple things you can't teach. And usually it's speed and size. Well, he didn't have much speed, but he's got a lot of size. Here's the thing. You know, you got to manage the weight. I think you got to put him in positions to succeed, meaning that he's not the type of guy that's got that quickness, or in particular lateral quickness, and really climbing to the second level. He doesn't necessarily bend well. It's probably tough to bend if you're 6'9", about 400 pounds, and that's roughly what he is. But he is massive. And if he gets his hands on you, it is over. You're not bull rushing him. You're not going to be able to move him. It's over. And look, he may struggle versus speed off of the edge, but that guy's got to run a while just to get around him. So if you're talking about a team that's got some needs on their offensive line, you know, the Dolphins could use this. This is a big-time need. And again, a rare player at this sort of size. And he has put together some good tape. I think the other thing you got to be excited about, he's only played 4 years of competitive football. So there's still a lot of upside to him. Not necessarily the instincts that you're looking for, but hopefully those things will come with time.
Talk about those good meals, Danny. And as we mentioned, we had him at 380, weighed in at 387 at the Senior Bowl there. Let's go to the Chiefs at 30 here. Ryan has them taking Michigan safety Daxton Hill. Danny, if he does go in the first round, we're going to see 3 Michigan defensive players go in the first round, listed as safety, but he's played a bunch of different spots. What do you think about him to the Chiefs?
Yeah, I mean, I think this Michigan defense, we talked so much about Georgia's defense. Michigan was right there in the same category with them statistically, one of the better defense, so not surprising at all. You mentioned Dax Hill, one of the more electric players. Like the Kansas City Chiefs, they went after Tyreek Hill because all the speed that he offers, and there's rumors that Dax Hill could lay down something with a 4.2. 4.2 what? I don't know, but anything with a 4.2 on it will have scouts drooling over him. A little bit undersized, and you mentioned Amanda, he can play a little bit of different positions. He's flexible enough, athletic and quick enough that he could possibly move to corner. But this is a player who hasn't played a ton of football. But again, this is all about upside at this point in the draft. And you see a player with that type of speed, somebody's going to take a shot on him without question.
We go to the Bengals at 31. We saw Joe Burrow get sacked a record 7 times in the Super Bowl. That had only happened 1 time before. He was sacked 9 times against the Titans. Ryan, do we get Joe Burrow protection? Where are we going here?
I mean, they have $60 million in cap space, and they should use every single draft pick and salary cap dollar to fix that offensive line, because otherwise, you know, what are we doing? So Bernard Raymond out of Central Michigan, I think it's pronounced Raymond or Rahman, perhaps. He's from Austria, so I don't have the Austrian-German accent on that one.
I'll text
but
you
he's only been playing. Yeah, text it to me. Hurry up. He's only been playing left tackle for a couple years. Prior to that, he was a tight end, and he actually moves like a tight end. And he hasn't even been playing football that long, sort of like Failele that Brady just talked about. And he has gotten a ton better from 2020 to 2021, and you saw it show up consistently. They played some Power 5 schools, and he did not look out of place at all. In fact, he was dominant at times. He played left tackle. They have a right tackle, Luke Gedeke, who's also going to get drafted. That was a really good offensive line, and he is only going to get better. He's raw. He's learning the position. He can be robotic at times, but it's starting to come to him, and you saw that flash at times in 2021. And again, the Bengals need help. Even if you want to move Jonah Williams to the right side, he played some right tackle in college as well. Whatever it takes, get more bodies out there. Protect Joe Burrow with athletic offensive linemen who can move the line of scrimmage, and Raymond gives you that 100% and then some.
The Rams do not get a first-round pick, but they did get a Super Bowl ring, which is exactly what they wanted. So the pick goes to the Lions via the Rams there, and Ryan has them taking Malik Willis, quarterback out of Liberty. All of you get to weigh in on this one. Brady, we'll start with you.
Yeah, look, I think if you're looking at the quarterback with the most upside in this draft class, it's probably Malik Willis. You see the strong arm. You see the athleticism. You see all of that in the tape. The only thing that concerns me is he's inconsistent with his accuracy. There's times you see him miss some throws that he shouldn't be missing, especially at the NFL level. You can't afford to do that. There's not so much of a timing element, too, within his offense, so you lack some of those throws that you want to see at the next level, so there will be somewhat of a transition. I think this particular spot could make a lot of sense because you've got Jared Goff to at least be the quarterback for the upcoming season and allow Malik Willis time to develop, time to get his feet underneath him in an NFL system, running an NFL offense. It makes a lot of sense in that point. So you've got Aiden Hutchinson to start this draft and then this mock from Ryan. Then you get the quarterback of the future. So this could really work out and be a home run when it's all said and done. So I think it makes sense. I think it's a good fit.
Yeah, I do too. Especially, it reminds me of, it's another team that traded up into the first round to take quarterback with the last selection. That was Lamar Jackson. The Ravens did that. And the Detroit, with the questions around Jared Goff, I could see Dan Campbell building an offense that's physical, that runs the football a lot, that utilizes a running quarterback. So I think that could be an interesting fit there. But the success that he had at the Senior Bowl, I think, is another player who a lot of people had a lot of questions about. Not only surprised people with his speed and his ability to run the football, but under some bad conditions when a lot of quarterbacks were struggling to throw the ball, he was still spinning it. I know a lot of scouts looked at that and said, oh, okay, this is going to be more like what you're going to face in the NFL when it gets in November. We're going to need to step up and make throws. So I think he's a player that there is a lot of uncertainty about, but the upside clearly is there, given the right system. And you mentioned accuracy. I think it's kind of a comp to Josh Allen. Now, he's not anywhere near the cannon or the physical specimen that Josh Allen was, but he is a player who struggled with accuracy, much like Josh Allen, because Josh Allen was trying to do everything when he was back at Wyoming, much like Malik Willis, who's tried to do everything, and at times it's gotten him in a little bit of trouble. But maybe you put him in a good system with some good talent around him, he could be that type of player.
That's a great point, Danny. And Pete Prisco used to always say that Josh Allen was playing with bouncers and bartenders at Wyoming, and that's why he had to do everything. If you go to Liberty, I don't guess you play with bouncers and bartenders, but he's playing with a bunch of guys that are not going to be the NFL when he gets there. And I think that's important to remember, because sometimes you can fall in love with the notion that, well, this guy can't throw accurately, he'll never be able to do that. Well, you get the right coaches around you and the right players around you and upgrade those positions, you certainly have a chance to be much better. And I think that's the case with Malik Willis. As we sit here, he's probably a mid-second round pick for me, but that doesn't mean he shouldn't go in the first round, especially with the fifth-year option. And also, we just saw the Rams win a Super Bowl. They're not going to pick again in the first round until the year 3000. So you can sometimes overvalue these first-round picks. And if Dan Campbell, as Brady mentioned, likes the idea of Malik Willis and that offense a year from now after Jared Goff's contract's up, then by all means, go out and get him and see how this thing happens, because you're not going to win in the NFL without a quarterback. The Bills took a gamble on Josh Allen and almost found their way to the Super Bowl the last few years, and certainly the Lions are looking to improve, and you have to do that by starting at the quarterback position.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.